Hello. Hi. How are you? My name is Liana Ruppert. I am currently working as a temporary community manager for the Fallout TV show. Woo! It's still fun. Seeing all the ghoul memes makes me really happy. But today we are talking about something that's a little bit, and by a little bit I mean a lot, off topic, and that is Watcher.
All right.
For anybody that does not know, Watcher is a spin-off company created by Shane Madej, Ryan Bergara, and Stephen Lem, and that has been spawned from their collaborative work together at BuzzFeed.
Hey there, demons. It's me, your boy.
Back in the day, you might remember BuzzFeed Unsolved, where they did true crime. They also did ghost hunting. Everybody fell in love with Shane and Ryan's dynamic. You had the scaredy cat nerd.
Vision looks scared too.
Oh my god, I almost... My fucking heart almost exploded, dude.
And then you had the skeptic that was so skeptic that even body language experts weighed in to be like, no, he genuinely does not give a shit. I love me a Shane. I love me a Shane. Both have wonderful partners. Stephen Lem, I'm also a little bit less familiar with just because I can't cook. And a lot of his content tends to center around cooking. I also, living in Seattle and coming from a homeless background, I don't really relate to a dude just traveling around eating thousands of dollars worth of rich food in fancy places. It's not something I can personally relate to, but I'm proud of him, happy for him. He seems like he's enjoying life. But that is all important context for the watching. So for a little personal context, I have probably binge watched every BuzzFeed Unsolved episode probably close to 500 times now. That is my comfort show. I am autistic, so sometimes I like to just have shit on repeat. I have always felt very close to that format as somebody that works with content creators for a living, as somebody who has managed some of the biggest names in content creation, as somebody who also knew a lot of the behind the scenes shenanigans that was happening at BuzzFeed and how they treat their workers.
It was not that fun.
I have followed these dudes everywhere. I even have t-shirts of, hey, you demons, it's me, your boy. Like, I love the Watcher fam. So it pains me
Ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
to see this happening. And this is something that I will explain now because I realize I'm going a little bit out of order, which, I mean, we all know. I'm also Googling.
I really have to stop Googling.
Really quick, because I want to see what the response was. I said word for word because I feel like I want to just be very transparent that I have weighed in. Not that I need to weigh in, but I have weighed in, and there are a lot of people. It's very rare when you see universal negativity in a comment section. If you want to see it, this is how you can see it. So 5 days ago, they posted a goodbye YouTube video where they... Side note, if you guys need a PR person or a marketing person, I have a master's degree in business, and literally PR avoidances like this is my purview. And I'm also very familiar with content creators. I'm also very familiar within the space y'all are, as well as peripheral markets as well. So like, if y'all need a spot,
I can do it.
No.
Let me do it.
I got you, because whoever came up with this plan and said, yes, this is the video, we should ship it, should be fired. They are so out of touch with reality. It's almost comical if people didn't care as much as they did about what the Watcher team promotes. So the Watcher team, everybody's kind of joking about how they have now become either, die as a hero or live to become the BuzzFeed of your generation.
You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
They definitely pulled a BuzzFeed, and I want to kind of explain why their goodbye YouTube video was so tone deaf and why it got universal backlash, so much so that they very quickly did an update video that pulled back on a little bit of those policies. But first, let's talk about the initial video. So they upload this video. It's very dramatic. I understand YouTube means a lot to you guys. I do. It means a lot to a lot of us. But the overacting made it really hard to see them as humans, which was already a one knock against them in terms of how this video is going to be received. They're coming off like, we are big Hollywood hotshots and you need to remember where you came from. So they do this big, long intro of goodbye YouTube. It takes forever to get to the point.
Ironic, isn't it?
The point eventually is we got our own streaming service because we don't have enough of those. In case you're unfamiliar, the United States is in a recession right now, and numerous big lifeblood industries are hemorrhaging daily. The gaming industry, which is a part of the entertainment industry, which is relevant to the Watcher fam, is up to over 20,000 layoffs in a 12-month span. It's a little sus. Everybody doesn't. Like, there are so many people that are so terrified about the future because they've lost their income, they've lost their communities, they've lost a lot of purpose. So with that recession in mind, with the target audience age group, because I guarantee you if you look at their metrics, their age group average is probably between 16 and 27. And I would argue probably there's more male audience members in that, but I don't have the analytics, so I couldn't tell you from that. But also looking at just reports of the revenue generation that they get off of the videos, not including any ad sponsorships, which for a following of their size, I mean, they got almost 3 million subscribers. They've got the goods. This is a classic case of flew too close to the sun and got burned.
It's a crazy feeling.
They have this obsession, as many creatives do, myself included, with perfection and with always taking it one step further. And we've seen this, like Ryan has been very open about this in previous ViDocs for Watcher, because every year they would do a creating Watcher. You don't need to do that all the time. The one was good. Like, that's good. Let it be good. Like, the amount of production quality that goes into their videos is so high. How much are those videos costing? They've got an entire staff of people. They got this really awesome studio, but then ended up getting a different studio that was bigger, which is a nice to have, not a need to have. Let me be very clear. Bigger studio is a nice to have, not a need to have, especially when you're coming from BuzzFeed, used to working with less. And also, people aren't there to watch your production value. They're there because your dynamic is so unique and so interesting that they want to see it. They would watch it on crappy cell phones.
Aw, 80 cell phones. Cool.
They would watch it if you filmed everything with crappy cell phones and no sets. Everybody was very happy and more than fulfilled with watching just yellow and blue text on a screen when they were back in the BuzzFeed days.
The last theory I'm going to go over is pretty silly.
Aliens. Finally, I believe you. Yes, of course, together.
We don't need Hollywood style production. And so when their video was going over about how they were aiming towards that goal of being Hollywood and then trying to say it was for the fans was a huge knock against this team and how the community trusts them as people and creators and not big business, because nobody cares about that. And had they known their actual audience like they used to know, instead of being obsessed in this loop of outshining and being the biggest, the best, because that's what it is. And I see it all the time in my job, working with content creators, working with people that have made multi-billion-dollar campaigns. It is a very classic rookie mistake, but what's odd to me is they have so many people on their team and nobody flagged this. Nobody flagged that, hey, this is a horrible idea.
Yeah, okay. Well, this is going to hurt like a mother.
And what's the idea at the core? Well, the core is they're moving away from YouTube to become a subscription service that everybody can afford for $5.99. While that number might sound low at a no context drop, you have to keep in mind a lot of their audience is a lot younger. And I don't know about you, maybe you came from money. But when I was younger, I was constantly living paycheck to paycheck and overdrafted constantly. That is not even taking into account that we are in recession. People are losing their jobs, their livelihoods. Saying that, saying that.
Oh my God, again, check it.
Saying that, third time's a charm, just further alienates. And the fact that that line came from Steven, who, if you look through the comments, no disrespect to Steven, he seems like a dope dude. A lot of people aren't there for you, dude. So like for you to be the one to deliver the cost and why that cost was settled is weird. It was a poor choice. Had I been directing this video, I would have called that out. I'm, again, very surprised that people didn't call that out. And maybe they did and they were overturned.
Not overrated.
Some of them, their names may rhyme with Fane, looked very uncomfortable to be there to begin with. No part of the video did he look like this was something that he supports. That might be projecting. He's got a face. But it was just bad. And you're gonna tell people that you're bro, that you need to move away from this because the YouTube algorithms for ads are no longer serving your purpose. And we don't want you to sit through ads. We'll happily, actually Watcher for me personally is the only channel that I will sit and watch through every ad without skipping because I want to support the boys. And a lot of people feel this way. And so it just, the whole thing, that from the way it was produced, from the flow of it, from the conversation, from the topic itself, was just bad. There wasn't a single good thing about it. It was very tone deaf from start to finish. And bro, the production value of that video, insanely high. You want to talk about cutting costs? How about cutting costs? How about not putting that responsibility on your viewers and instead being an adult and responsible and cutting costs where you can? Layoffs, they used the whole weaponized layoffs thing. And if you follow me on Twitter, you know that is a very sore topic for me because layoffs are always a result of poor decisions and poor leadership. And you know who makes the decisions? Leadership. In this case, the three here are the leadership. Guess what, boys? Now you have a new role. It's time to stop thinking about short-term wins under the guise of a long-term win and really start to learn what is needed to be a leader in this space, because that means putting selfish desires to the pasture for the greater of the team. If that means you don't get a fancy new yellow couch, then that means you don't get a fancy new yellow couch.
That's right, I said it!
Go to the thrift store. There's tons of them. There are so many avenues of cost cutting that should have been pulled as levers before this video ever even became a concept. And just to say that, I just want to comment the comment I made on the video, just for some context of personal feelings in a more concise manner. So I wrote to them, I started off with a nice thing because I really do love this team and I didn't want it to come off personal. I would love to support you guys and help monetarily. Unfortunately, I work in games and we're at 20K layoffs and can't spend money on things like this with more and more creators going this route. Keep in mind, everything is subscription based these days. You makeup boxes, entertainment subscriptions, skincare. Like anytime I try to go buy something, I feel like now I'm getting the, would you like to subscribe to save less? No, I just want to buy the product. I just want to exchange money in exchange for goods or a service. I don't want to be committed to a year's worth of subscription because y'all are focused on short-term wins. That is not a retention system. Unless you are one of the monopolies, it's not going to do what you think it is. And never mind the fact that the Watcher subscription, it looks nice. The UI looks nice, but they're so focused on what things look like that they've almost forgotten what they even offer. I mean, did we remember the history show that they did with one season where they had somebody else come in and they did an Egyptian episode and she didn't even get the base information correct. Forgot what it was, but like she said it was like Nefertiti or something or Cleopatra or something, and it was ended up like not being that person at all. It's like that's the kind of stuff you need to make sure is locked down before that episode goes live. Nobody wanted it. We already have historical based shows that you guys do. Nobody asked for that. I love that they were able to find something new. And I love that I hope they are encouraged to continue trying new things, but there's a way to do it. And if they haven't figured out how to do that without bleeding their employees dry, then y'all need to take a step back and be like, look, there's some more learnings we need to do on our site, instead of just assuming that you're constantly the only one that knows what you're doing and going off of that, because clearly, very evidently, that is incorrect. So I put, wish you guys the best, and we'll catch the first episode here to support y'all where I can. Good luck and congrats on the new adventures. If you wanted my unasked for 2 cents, if you really knew your community, you would understand we don't expect high quality. That's not why we're tuning in. We'd watch if you filmed on an old Nokia phone. We watch for you. TV quality is going to make you feel outside of the community instead of in it. We like feeling a part of it. We like seeing the dynamic with you and you all just having fun. Please don't forget why you left BuzzFeed to start your own venture. We will happily devote a few minutes to watch ads if it meant we could continue supporting you. But in this age where everything is subscription, this just feels like a slap in the face to your community that has supported you even through the beginning of low production BuzzFeed years. And if you go through the comments, it's just constantly people saying that. So then fast forward, it was unanimous. Like, people were making videos. There was not a single positive comment about this change.
No one, not even the president, is above the law.
I know. I have been in these rooms. I have worked for AAA companies. I have worked for TV shows. I have worked for video games. And I have been in the room where PR nightmares go down. And I know exactly how that meeting happened. I know there was a lot of nerves. There was a lot of frustration. There was a lot of fear. There was a lot of, fuck, what do we do? Is this irreparable? There was probably even some defensiveness of, well, they don't understand. Well, I do understand. I can't speak for anybody else, but I do understand because I used to create shows like this. Pokimane, Dr. Lupo. I used to do work for HyperX, Turtle Beach. I used to produce E3. I've done this. I know this pipeline. And I'm telling you, that was not the way to go about it. A subscription service should have never even come into play when you have so many people supporting you on Patreon. They didn't have a Patreon, it would have been received a little bit better. Not great, but there might have been one or two positive comments sprinkled in, but that's just a slap in your face to all the people that have been supporting you on Patreon as well. So they're like, well, fuck, well, what's our money for? Are we supposed to still... And then they still had their Patreon. So you want money on Patreon and Watcher?
I am shooketh.
Are you shitting my dick right now? Like, come on, be real. So then it didn't take long before the three guys on the couch pipeline saw fruition. The prophecy has been revealed.
The prophecy is true.
Where they say we fucked up. I laughed too. The very first thing said was, we messed up.
We messed up.
And it was so textbook scripted. They were able to get mixed reactions with the follow-up video. Not 100% positive. A lot of people weighed in saying that it's a little too late. Like, they really showed their ass with that first video. Some people were like, okay, well, I can do this now because now the format is it will still all go up on the website first. And then a month later, the episodes will then make their way over to YouTube. A lot of people are saying the bridge has been burned. The trust has been burned. But if you would have just not had a Patreon, that would have been so much more helpful. It's just bad. The video, the we fucked up video, was so scripted. It was so try to look contrite. It was so, we know this is what you want to hear, so here you go. It didn't feel genuine. Way too scripted. Very obvious you're reading a teleprompter or cue cards or whatever means you had to have the script. And you're just further proving the point that a lot of people have, that you've lost touch with your community. Now you're a business, which is fine. You can be a business and still be in touch with the community. Look at Larry in games. Hello? With these two videos back to back, you proved to your community that while you say they're first, they're not. And I'm sorry, I know I already said this, but having Stephen Lim come out and say, we need more money because I'm going to be traveling abroad eating $5,000 gold steaks like he did on this, it's so tone deaf. And it was
It's like living in the food.
a weird decision. I would have loved to been a fly on that wall for those meetings leading up to that video. I want to see the people who said, this is a good idea. We should do this and exactly like this. Because I'm sure some risks were brought up and people were like, well, be prepared. But I know they weren't thinking it was going to be a universal backlash like that. I know this because I've been there. And I just, as a huge fan, I hope they get their shit together. Go on a sabbatical. Take a month off. Reconnect with nature. Touch grass. Film some stuff on a cell phone so you can see that your viewer count will still stay up. Because your viewers, unlike a lot of communities are really fragile. Not the Watcher community. The Watcher community has been a decade in the making, and the Watcher community genuinely loves. That's why they buy your ticket. Y'all, Watcher was doing like city tours. They came to Seattle. I didn't even get to go. I bought tickets. I didn't even get to go. And I didn't even refund my ticket because I wanted to support them. That's your community, guys. And that's the community you just spit in their mouth. Like, get it together. We want to see you succeed, but you gotta own up to the fact that stop. Get help.
Stop it. Get some help.
You don't need Hollywood style production. It's a nice to have, not a need to have. And at the core, I think that's the conversation they need to have, is identifying what is a nice to have versus what is a need to have. What kind of cost cuts can we make? Should we downsize studio? That's an option. You're in LA. That shit's expensive. What are you thinking? Be more intentional with travel. Maybe the episode doesn't include a gold crusted steak. Weird. I don't know anybody that's specifically looking for that type of content. That specific gold crusted steak. I don't think. I don't. And I hope that they get their shit together, because it's a really sad thing to see. And I want to see these dudes succeed. I love them. I love their content. I love their brains. I love everything they stand for. I love what they've built. And I don't want to see it crumble because of inexperience, bad leveraging, maybe some bad advice. Maybe stop hiring your friends and relatives. Maybe hire some real business people. That's a thought. But I think that there's a lot that they need to do, and a lot of introspection that they need to do is reconnect with why they started this in the first place. Why did you start BuzzFeed at the first place? Why did you start at BuzzFeed in the first place? What about that drew you? And what about that drew you to continue it on when the BuzzFeed era closed? Reconnect with that. Your fans are literally begging.
Please, sir. I want some more.
Okay, I know that was a way off topic, not gaming. I probably lost half my audience here, but it's been heavy on my noggin, so I wanted to talk about it. I appreciate you guys for bearing with my little rant. Nothing but love to the Watcher fam. I hope they continue thinking about this from a very open-minded perspective and not a defensive perspective, because if it's our way, then they are going to eventually cave into shuttering their doors for real, not for scripts to show why they need more money. So thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you are drinking that water, you are prioritizing that self-care, and you are always leading with your kindest foot forward, even when it's hard to do. Thank you guys so much, and I will catch you guys next time.